Style is not individual.
No.
People think it's individual. It's not. Style is a social currency.
Mm-hmm.
You like the things that the people that you identify with also like. Not to say that we're not free choice, that somehow our freedom of choice has been taken away, but it's amazing how the demographic that you identify with typically determines a lot of your culture, food.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's Jeff Heilman Project podcast. Today, what we're going to be talking about on the show is a term most recently coined as habitus, also as taste, or I think I've also read it as being a culture. It's like culture connect or something. There's a few other terms for it. But what we're talking about, how people of sustained prosperity, rich people, choose things and look for things and surround themselves with things aesthetically. So what I brought in as show and tell Jeff is, I like to go to thrift stores, antique stores,
You do.
Any kind of consignment stores or secondhand stores. As a matter of fact, a lot of people, of the millionaires that I know, quite a few of them go to antique stores and secondhand shops because they know what they're looking for.
Yeah, they think in terms of value. You can buy an antique desk for $25,000. That's beautiful, and if somebody's got plenty of money to spend and they want to drop $25,000, they can. But a lot of times it's in the finding things that are undervalued.
It's the undervalue. It's the hunt. I think that the more affluent you get, the more fun you have trying to hunt. I mean, it's no fun when you can just buy it and pay whatever the sticker price is. It's a lot more fun. It's a lot more fun when you can find it. So I brought some things today. And I'd like to talk about why I picked them when I saw them, and then the value of them after I went home and looked online to find out the value. So the first thing I have right here is this bowl. And from a distance, it could look like a cut glass bowl. But when you go up to it,
cast crystal, isn't it?
When you go up to it and you put it in your hand and you recognize it's got some weight to it, this is actually a crystal bowl. And honey, would you like to take a guess at how much I paid? For context, we were in Pismo Beach. I was at a secondhand store. It was just called Vintage Collectible or Vintage. It was just a vintage secondhand shop.
Does it have a brand, Sikorsky or?
Now see that is another clue to items when you're looking for them and you're thrifting or secondhand. There usually be a watermark on the bottom, or even there's a watermark somewhere. But no, this has no watermark.
I would say, I know crystal's expensive, and that actually cleans up really well. I also know that crystal scratches pretty easily, which is why folks at home, you probably don't want to put your nice crystal in the dishwasher, especially if you don't have a water softener for the house. But what the question was, what's it worth, or what did you pay for it?
What did I pay for it?
I would guess you probably got that for less than $12.
Yes, I purchased this. It was at half off. The sticker price was $12 and it was half off, so I got it for $6.
Okay.
I was drawn to it because of the amount of cuts that are in it. And when I took it home and I Google searched it, this exact bowl came up as valued at between $30 and $50.
Yep.
And the reason why I bring this up is because when you're out, what they call being out in the wild, you're out in the wild and you're at an antique store or a thrift shop, the thing that I'm looking for, and most wealthy people will look for the same things when they're looking to get a deal or to purchase something at low and then sell it for high, is the amount of effort it would have taken to put into something. The fact that this has as many cuts in it as it does means that it took a considerable amount of effort or time, either waiting for the machine to finish cutting it or a human being actually doing the cutting. And so this is an example of something that if you want to start a second business as somebody who does buying
retail
and
arbitrage
selling
huge.
antiques, and you want to appeal to the wealthier class that's going to be able to pay $50 for a bowl if you're going to resell it on Etsy or eBay or something, is look at how much time, effort, and detail that goes into the piece that you're about to purchase. And if you can find it on a half-off sale because it's sat on the shelf for longer, then obviously your price goes down. So this is the first item, and that's what I brought.
Did we establish there's no brand?
There's no brand.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter because it's crystal. Yeah, those are going to be worth more.
Going to be worth more. Yeah.
The next item I brought for show and tell, I purchased recently at, where was I? I think it was, Madeline, and I just went, it was Goodwill. We were at the Goodwill. And this one's kind of funny because you might not think that I would have taste for picking this, but okay. We were exiting the Goodwill and I saw this tiger. And I have a bathroom that I have turned into. It's a circus bathroom. So I saw this little guy and I thought, it just caught my eye. And this is why this is why we're cutting this podcast today for my kids also to say, what does mom get attracted? What catches mom's eye? So this little guy caught my eye because I have a circus bathroom. But then when I looked at it a little closer, I saw right here on the back, it's got a blue sticker on it. And for those of you who are just listening, I'm holding a mug. It's a plastic mug with a flip-top head, and it's a white tiger. And it's got a blue sticker on the back that says it says Greatest Show on Earth. And the fact that it still has a very clear emblem on the back.
A Ringling Brothers cup.
Eyes are still dark blue, bright blue.
It's white.
It's basically
in color.
In perfect condition. And then I looked at the bottom, and the bottom has the sticker from
Ringling Brothers.
Ringling Brothers Greatest Show on Earth. Yep. Any guesses on how much I paid for this plastic?
Probably $5 to $8.
Yes, I've paid $6 for this.
Look at this. I should go on Prices Right here. Crushing it today.
This plastic collectible tiger.
That's got to be worth probably more like $50 or $80.
It's actually, I Googled it and I found it on eBay for $30.
$30,
so it's a $30 item, but I'm interested in keeping it as a collectible because I know Barnum and Bailey Circus is no longer in business. This is something, because of its markings and because it's in such good shape, is just going to go up in value as I keep it. Why was I attracted to this? Beside the fact that I have a circus bathroom, it's because of the quality of the colors. The colors are still vibrant. They're still rich. There's nothing worn on it.
And I think Ringling Brothers went out of business when we were kids, right?
I think there were a couple I remember the kids going to a circus. I think it's only been within the last 10 years that they went out of business.
I mean, it's not a great business model, to be honest.
No, and Cirque du Soleil doesn't use animals, and I believe that the reason they mostly went out of business is because of animal cruelty and things like that, and people being concerned of how the animals were being treated. And that's fair, but it doesn't mean that I should stay away from collectibles that are only going to go up in value. So again, if you're out in the wild, if you're out hunting and I prefer thrift stores over antique stores because the antique stores, let's face it, they know what they have and they're going to put a good mark on it. But if you can go to the secondhand stores and find things like this little treasure, look for things that take a lot of intricate detail. Look for things that have bright, vibrant colors and can be standalone for how well they're preserved. And then lastly, I'm gonna kind of hand it over to Jeff, and he can talk more about Habitus and what he's been learning about it. Are clothes. So clothes are something that everybody needs, everybody wants, and you can find a lot, believe it or not, a lot of designer clothes at secondhand and thrift stores. these two pieces, if they were just hanging on there, this is what I want. It's like, these are the things. Why did she pick these things? Like, what caught her eye? So if they're just hanging on the rack side by side, they don't necessarily look special in any way. But what I'm drawn to out of these two dresses is the color variation in the grays. It's the fact that the knit is tight, and tight knit things usually mean higher quality. And so when I went and I saw the price tags and I saw the labels, because based on looking at them from the side, they're both
one's Banana Republic.
Yeah,
What's
they're
the other
both
one?
Banana Republic.
Oh, they both are. Okay. All right.
They're both Banana Republic dresses.
Yeah, that's probably $100 worth of dresses at Valley Fair. Right there.
And they are from the Salvation Army. And any guess at how much these Banana Republic dresses
I saw
each were?
one price tag looked like it was $6.99. The other one might be maybe $8.99.
They are $8.90. They were both $8.99.
$8.99. Okay.
So here we have an example, because they're knit, because of the color variation, of two dresses that if you would have purchased them at Banana Republic, they would have been probably $120 a piece. But because
Is
I
that right?
saw
Are
them,
they really that much?
yeah, in winter, new.
Okay.
And when
Wow.
but because I saw them at Salvation Army and I knew what to look for,
Yeah.
which was, again, when you're looking at clothing from the side, you're looking for tight woven, like tight knit, if you're looking for sweaters, and you're looking for color variation. Because the whole premise, in my opinion, of Habitus and learning how to think affluently is thinking in terms of generational legacy and things that are going to last. Things that take more effort and require more detail and more thought are going to last a lot longer than things that are only just like a plain glass bowl. For one, a plain glass bowl, if it falls, is going to break. It doesn't have any gravitas to it in order to keep it together.
And that, depending on what it lands on, could break. But I've seen crystal, like thick, heavy crystal like that, fall and not break.
Yeah. So things are going to last longer. The more detail, the more intricate they are. Things are going to last longer. The better quality of the paint and the design and the shellac or whatever it is that's holding onto it.
It also has an aesthetic that is from a previous era.
Yes.
I just looked up, because of this piece here with the tiger, Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus was defunct as a business in 2017, which is almost 10 years ago. I remember going to Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus when I was a kid and getting coloring books and clown stuff. And it had been in business for 146 years.
Yeah.
Which that's
that brings up a good point
Hollywood.
about things that evoke nostalgia.
Yeah.
When you have something like this cut glass or this cut crystal is Victorian era, and therefore it brings up that Edwardian Victorian feeling.
Yes.
This tiger brings up an 80s kind of hip,
it's
mid-century
the circus
art vibe.
Belle Epoque.
Steampunk. Yeah, Belle Epoque.
Belle Epoque is the era that circus is from, which is the era between the Impressionist and Post-Impressionist and pre-Art Deco. That era, I think it's 1885 to about 1910.
Yeah.
And then you've got Bauhaus.
I meant 80s because it's a flip top.
Yes, no, it's plastic.
The style is Belle Epoque. Yes,
it's from the Belle Epoque era, which is French ropes.
Yes.
Magicians, fabric, trapeze.
I love the costumes of the showgirls, because they've got all the ruffles and they've got the lace tights.
Moulin Rouge.
And so that circus nostalgia, that feeling that it evokes. And even these dresses are very simple. And that's another part of being affluent, is the more simple something is, the more understated it is, the longer it lasts, and the more it can be used and passed on.
How much was the tiger?
The tiger I purchased for $6.
Okay, so the tiger was $6. The bowl was $12, half off is $6. And you have two dresses
for $8.99.
For $8.99, so call it 9 and 9. So that's 18, 24, $30 even.
Yes. A
plus sales
$30
tax.
treasure trove.
So for $30, you picked up something beautiful, something nostalgic, and something chic
or timeless, however you want to, yeah.
in the dresses. And the point here is that I think there are a whole lot more people out there who are learning how to develop taste than people out there who don't have $30
I agree.
to spend. And one thing that I can say, whether it's the chairs on this set, this table, the lamps, you and I have been together for such a long time now that our tastes are very similar. They always really were. I mean, we like art. If somebody were to ask me, how would you define your taste? I would say rich.
Well, there is a style called old money.
Old money.
Old money is like if you put it in Pinterest and put old money,
I think Francophile.
it comes up. Anglophile.
Anglophile.
Francophile, which is just somebody. Francophile, someone who loves things from France, and Anglophile, somebody who loves things from England.
That's right.
Just so you know.
And the sense of the kind of mid-century Americana, mid-Atlantic New York, 1950s, 1960s, the airliners, the 707 airliners, TWA and American back in the day. I like Ralph Lauren. I like pretty much everything Ralph Lauren does has not every single color of polo shirt, but like I can't think of anything that I've gotten rid of at Ralph Lauren that doesn't have more holes than fabric.
I know, I was going to say.
We've got that pair
you
of...
You only get rid of Ralph Lauren when it has holes in it.
it has to literally have more holes than fabric. And I'm thinking of one pair of shorts right now that's a very thin...
the Madras shorts with lots of holes in them.
And there's like 3 holes on the back right and 3 holes on the back left, and the middle's sagging. And so those may get patched, and they may just be something I wear to bed because they're comfy. But things that wear really well. You know, the chairs that we got, you got a dining room table and 6 chairs for $50. Mm-hmm. And we needed some new dining room chairs, and it was like, this is a really good fit. There was so much manufacturing done in the 50s and 60s and 70s of really high quality stuff.
Yeah.
And there was a plethora of it in the post-war boom that you can get really good stuff. The Suncoast.
Yes, the Drexel Heritage table and chairs.
Table and 6 chairs, and china cabinet and hutch, and originally coffee table and 2 side tables. You can go look up the Drexel Heritage Suncoast dining room set, and we bought that. I just about fell out of my chair. It was just after we made our first little bit of money at Cisco, and it was $2,600. You could have spent $2,600 on just the dining room table by itself, without the 6 chairs, the armchairs that match, the china cabinet, the hutch.
Well, it also goes with what's...
It was a great deal.
It goes with what's trendy and what's popular right now, mid-century modern.
Is super popular
the question is why. And the why of that time being so nostalgic is because it was analog. It's because we as a culture right now are so overworked with digital things that the baby boomers, that the people that grew up with their grandparents and had such good memories of seeing their grandparents reading the newspaper or doing something all together. There was a time when you couldn't watch TV unless you were all together because you could only afford one television and it was live. There was nothing
usually your
pre-recorded.
Grandparents had enough money
and
to
then
buy.
you would go and you would all sit together and you would watch one show on television.
That came on when they decided.
And then everybody would talk about that show the next day at work. And so if you hadn't the night before all sat down, you would have nothing to talk about the next day at work because you were in a physical location when you went to work. And on your break, you would talk about what you watched the night before.
That's right.
And so this overwhelming...
I know this sounds strange, kids. Anybody under the age of probably 25 or 30.
Overwhelming nostalgia of a time that was analog is really bringing a resurgence of all of these items that...
Yeah, who would have thought vinyl?
Right.
Like vinyl's killing it right now. My
Yeah.
mom just not recently, but she got rid of her entire record collection, over 450 albums. I think she sold them for $100 to a guy on Craigslist.
Well, there
and I'm
was a
like,
time when you
oh
couldn't
my God.
buy a record player.
Yeah.
There was CDs came along and MP3 players came along, and you couldn't buy records. I mean, if you were a cool hipster person and you knew how to go to the thrift stores and to look for vinyls back then, but nobody was going, these are going to come back in style
Yeah,
again.
people are going to want
Let's hoard the vinyls.
People are going to want physical media that can't compete with CDs. Said no one ever
No,
until about 10 years ago. And the artwork and the record players are all good now, right?
The fact that you have to now people are excited about having to sit and be there in order to
flip the
it
record.
over.
I know.
And to be able to sit and listen. They have there are I watch a lot of HGTV as well, and there are so many people that are designing houses around rooms for going and listening to their hi-fi, going and listening to the record player, because they're looking for those consoles, those record player consoles, and they're looking for retrofitting them so that you can have Bluetooth and stuff. But the main premise is that you have a room dedicated to sitting down and listening to vinyls and having people over to sit down and listen to vinyls together, because of that analog desire that we have for connection, for being able to be a part of something that stood the test of time. I think that in a time when kids are being raised right now and things are in 6-second increments, like TikToks or back when Vine was around, things are so quick and so fast that it just blows their mind that there's things that you just sit and you have to listen to, or that you can sit in one place for an hour at a time and have to put pause on it and actually listen to hear what you're listening to.
Yeah, I would not have thought that vinyl would come back as strong as it has, but it's cool. And the artwork. There was a Netflix documentary on one of the guys who did a lot of the artwork for the early British invasion bands. Not the Beatles and not the Stones, but like the Who and Led Zeppelin and the Doors, and it was how you communicated differentiation and brand of your band was these album covers. And now it almost seems like a bit of an afterthought, the artwork associated with an album cover, because it just shows up as a little digital square on your iPhone.
It's so small.
But it used to be, they used to.
Well, now thanks to the resurgence of vinyl, you can go into Target and you can get the newest album, Taylor Swift or anybody on album, and you'll see that artwork in a record format. So why do we talk about this stuff? This is the Jeff Heilman Project. We're all works in process. We're all projects. The project maybe for this episode would be, why does mom pick what she picks? And what is Habitus? And Habitus is really it's an ingrained nature that says that this is what I'm looking for. And I think what people are looking for in the different social classes ends up looking like something different. And my point of this whole episode is that if you know what you're looking for, you don't have to it doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg. You just have to know what you're looking for. And what we're looking for when we're looking for things that could be sold and profited on are things that are timeless, things that evoke, when you look at them, a different era, a nostalgic feeling to them, things that are vibrant, things that have a lot of detail. For example, those watches, a lot of, there are two camps. There's the simple watch, which should never go overlooked because it takes a lot to make something very minimal, and that can be worth a lot. But then also there are some very intricate movements on watches that can also make a watch very expensive based on how much detail and how intricate the watch itself is. So look for both. Look for things that are simple and timeless, like a original Timex or something like that. Simple and timeless.
Yeah, some of the original Seikos are
Yeah.
starting to creep up.
And then also look for things that are very intricate and have a lot of movement on the back that are still in good repair, that are still in good order. So simple, timeless, and then detailed.
It's a really good
and
discipline, I think, for people as we look at taste. I think that taste is going to play a very important role in society. I think the simplest kind of binary, they look good or they don't look good, is look at newscasters, but look at the difference in the clothing that news anchors wear on the evening news or like CNN or Fox. Regardless of your political persuasions, look at what they wear because they actually
the BBC.
They actually dress pretty consistently.
Yeah.
Or the BBC versus your local news, your 6 o'clock news for your local station, or 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning if you're looking. And I am consistently shocked at how poorly the news anchors on the local news, they just look like they don't even care. They wear suits that are out of style. They wear shirts that are ill-fitting. They have ties that aren't tied correctly, if they wear a tie at all. And I think about, if I look at the people who dress the best, I think Katie Couric crushed it. Now, I'm dating myself, I know, but I think Katie Couric dressed really, really well. Barbara Walters dressed really, really well. A little more conservative, a little bit more consistent with the times. I think the women on The View are probably a pretty good mainstream mirror for what's popular in women's fashion. And Stone Phillips.
Good Morning America's usually
Good Morning America.
been
Yep.
pretty good.
Stone Phillips dressed really well on Dateline NBC. And then Bob Costas. The sportscasters, like for basketball, it's less.
Football, that's a whole other.
Football's, but
I'm going, how high are those pants?
I know.
And
I
how
know.
tight are those legs? But I think that speaks to maturity, and as you grow
Well, it's
older,
to their audience. Like they're trying to mirror and relate to a specific audience. So if you look at sportscasters in the NBA Finals, they're going to wear a different outfit because they're trying to appeal to a different audience than people who are broadcasting the Pebble Beach Pro-Am golf tournament or the Masters or Formula One. Even look at Formula One versus NASCAR, right? Different audience. Formula One's a more affluent audience. You're dealing a more international crowd. It's more businesses and sponsors and wealth is associated with Formula One versus NASCAR, which is a little bit more blue collar and more southern. Like, look at the places they have them, right? Daytona. You're in Florida. You're in the South. You're in South Carolina. You're not in Las Vegas and Monaco and Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
But dress is probably the simplest way of kind of drawing a line between aesthetics and taste.
And what I would like to encourage for that, even for men, is the tendency is to say, I gotta have brand. I gotta have Armani. I gotta have Hugo Boss. I gotta have the brand name. And so you'll go and you'll spend all of your money on the brand, and then it won't fit. It is so much better and so much more worth your while to go to a thrift store and find something that is a brand like Brooks Brothers or Ralph Lauren, which you
Bruno
can
Magli
find,
or Ferragamo
or Banana Republic,
Yep.
or even you could find Hugo Boss suits. Go and find something secondhand, and then go spend up to $200 if you have to on tailoring. Get it a little big, get a little big in the waist, get a little big in the shoulders, get a little long. Go and spend the money on tailoring and making it custom and making it fit, especially if you're a new entrepreneur or if you're a startup person who's looking to get his business going and you want to look presentable and you want to look nice. don't get as hung up on the name brands of things, but by all means, get whatever you can closest to fit and have it tailored. You can have your dress shirts tailored. You can have your suits tailored. You can look like $1 million with just a couple $100 spent on tailoring.
You can. Yeah, fit's really important. And then you think in terms of basics, and I think I passed the basics a long time ago. I had all my suits and all my shirts and all my ties and all that stuff formal a long time ago. But then for men, it's pretty simple. Pants, shirts, and then overgarment, right? Like a sweatshirt or a pullover. You could do casual with jeans with a hoodie. You could do more traditional with a zip-up, non-hood sweatshirt. I have several of those. And then like a loafer, something simple like this. One of the things I've done, I used to not really pay much attention to it. And I realized that I wasn't just doing myself a disservice because I looked like a slob, but I was communicating to people when I was in public, when I go down to Starbucks and I've got gym shorts and flip-flops and a backwards baseball hat and a T-shirt with ketchup stains on it.
Unapproachable.
That is a person that no one wants to do business with or talk to or be around. And so I think I made a mention of this to you several months ago. I'm like, I'm just not going out of the house anymore unless I've got either a dress shirt, some kind of collared shirt, a nice watch, some accoutrement. I don't want to go out of the house in gym clothes. There's no reason to do that. And it doesn't mean that I'm afraid of being poor. No, I've been poor. I'm not afraid of going back. And that's one of the reasons why we've stayed successful, I think, is because we don't let fear of poverty dictate our decisions on things. But it really doesn't take very much effort. It's a mental click. It's a switch in your head that just says, I'm going to wear loafers instead of flip-flops. I'm going to wear nice dark jeans instead of shorts. I'm going to wear a dress shirt with my cuffs done, and maybe I'll do my hair, or maybe I'll just have a haircut. Like right now, my hair is kind of done and kind of messed up because I had a ball cap on and off and stuff, but my hair is cut. I've had a haircut within the last 2 or 3 weeks. I've got product in it. I'm shaved now, and I have a dress watch on. Like, I may not look like $1 billion, but I feel comfortable, I'm relaxed, and I'm sending a message into the world that, I'm somebody that you want to do business with. And I can tell you there were 2 occasions where, in one, I met 2 young guys that were doing they were raising a private equity fund that I met. I was at a nice place. I took the time to get dressed up. I did my hair, just more for me, not because I was trying to sell anything to anybody. And I run into these 2 guys, and they were like, "You look like you know what you're doing. Like, we want to talk to you." And they said, "What have you done?" And I said, "Well, I just got done doing a private equity turnaround for 2.5 years, taking some time off and resting." And they said, "Okay, when you're done resting, give us a call because you look the part." And it's one thing to look the part and say, well, of course you look the part because you're white. Or of course you look the part because you're over 50. Or of course you look the part because you're tall or you have, you're tan, right? Those are things that I can't really control those things, but I can absolutely control how do I dress?
Yeah.
How do I stand? The royalty says that your chin, when you're in public or in view of the public, your chin is to be parallel to the floor at all times, right? Versus like this or like that. And so these are little disciplines, but all of this has to do with this concept of habitus, which is it's taste as a social construct. It's style and judgment as a form of social currency that wealthy people hand down to their children. And it's basically, it's a comfort level with a certain set of disciplines and a certain aesthetic to where the way that you speak, your voice inflection and tone, the topics of conversation. And it's amazing how there are little social circles have different people who live in the city have a different social construct from people who live in the country. People who live in the suburbs have a different construct from people who live way, way out of town, right? People who are, in farm country. I notice a difference in the way that people look and dress and act when you're in Salinas, California versus Carmel. Even though Carmel is closer to Salinas than we are. They're next door neighbors, but socially, right? And Carmel, anybody who's been to this part of the country and seen, Carmel has a very different look and feel than Monterey does. And Monterey has a very different look and feel than Pacific Grove does. And Carmel Valley Ranch area has a very different look and feel from downtown Carmel. Carmel is all about the absolute epitome of the upper crust,
the finer things,
the very finest,
the most elite
of everything.
things.
If you're going to go and see $50 million vehicles, one after another, after another, after another, after another, they don't do that in Monterey. They do it in Carmel.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I always go back to our one of our pastors from one of our churches that we used to go to. He grew up in the ghetto of Louisiana. I remember Pastor Huck talking about it, and he grew up, but their house was always
clean. Yeah,
and it was like their mom and grandma would have them out there cutting the grass with scissors.
Doesn't
if
take
they
any
had
money to be clean.
It doesn't, and they would say poor doesn't mean lazy. It doesn't take any money for maintenance when you have a picture of yourself as being in order. It doesn't cost money to be in order. Now, he said that all the houses around him in the ghetto were trashy and dumpy and gross, but his house was never a mess, because just because you're poor is no excuse for being lazy. And so I remember also Ron Prieur would talk about that, about how he would have no money in the beginning of building his business, but his pants were always ironed and his shirt was always clean and his hair was always cut, because just because you don't have the money to do things doesn't excuse you to be lazy and to not put your best foot forward. And so that's why we encourage people to look for simple things that are going to last. If you need to spend a little bit extra, if you have to save up, Jack Canfield talks about in Success Principles, the book, he talks about how rich people will save every single penny when it comes to things that don't matter to them.
And then
like
splurge.
they will go to Walmart for the best price on toilet paper. And you always wonder, why is that rich guy shopping at Walmart? Well, they when it doesn't matter, when it's something like consumable like toilet paper or paper towels, they're going to find it for the best, cheapest price that they could possibly find, so that they can spend the money in the areas that want to, that they love, that they like. They will be out on, you will go on a sailboat, a multi-million-dollar sailboat, and you will see Costco rolls of toilet paper underneath the keel, because of the fact that that's how they operate. And so if you have to, if you're content eating something simple like peanut butter and jelly so that you can save money as you're building your business, so that you can go and buy a Ralph Lauren dress shirt or something, and you only have one. Well, let me tell you, that one shirt is going to last as long as you keep it clean and keep it pressed.
I mean, I went out.
It's going to last forever.
I went out in our direct selling business 1 to 2 to 3 nights a week for probably 10 years, and I don't think I had more than 3 dress shirts. But they were good dress shirts. There were suits that fit. There were ties that were current. If you're going to go do, I don't even know. I have thousands of dollars worth of ties that I don't even wear anymore since I left. I don't think I've been wearing suit and ties since I left IBM, which would have been 2018, 2019. Occasionally, there's speaking engagements or a funeral or a dinner or something where you need to have a tie, but it's pretty much out. And especially if you live in Silicon Valley, they're out. But suits, a good-looking suit with a shirt that fits and polished dress shoes and a belt that matches. I mean, I feel different when I'm wearing a suit, when I actually go out. Anymore, it's mixed separates. You have a sport coat, and you can mix it up with shirts. And even the investment bankers that we worked with from JP Morgan.
Chase Bank.
Yeah. Chase. I'm trying to think. Chase, JP Morgan. I'm drawing a blank. Goldman Sachs. Thanks.
Okay.
They all wear really nice.
I feel like there's somebody watching and maybe even listening to the show
pants.
right now that is saying, why on earth would
Dress
I even be
shirts.
listening to someone talk to me about taste and style and affluency who has a quarter sleeve tattoo on her arm? And let me just explain to you a little bit
Hey, don't knock it till you try it.
why there is a tattoo on my arm. Aside from the Jeff Heilman Project and the other podcasts that I am on and the multiple businesses that I have, I am also a pastor at a church. And I've been given the opportunity
With a lot of people that have tattoos.
Well, I've been given the opportunity to preach, and I found the more preaching that I was doing, I am the only current pastor that has tattoos on her arm where other people can see them. And the reason why I say this is there became a Christian culture probably 15 years ago, up and rising with elevation worship, with Hillsong worship, where a lot of very young 20 to 40 somethings from the music industry had become newly saved Christians and had begun to take their energy from music and putting it into worship music, which became phenomenally celebrated. And so now we have all of these beautifully tattooed people who have transcended the secular music world into this highly praised worship world. And you're seeing so many, the 20 to 40-year-olds today have the culture of what the tattoos mean, how you have tattoos, the influence of worship leaders coming into this very young, hip generation has brought on a relatability that says that tattoos, visible tattoos, and they listen. They want the 20 to 40 somethings feel like they have somebody in front of them that is current. And so a lot of the reason why I do have my quarter sleeve tattoo is so that I can be current for my audience, and they are all spiritually based tattoos. It's a talking point. I love going into
it's part of your aesthetic
I love
and your
going
taste, though.
into your corporate functions, and then everyone there is all all buttoned up and all like corporate, and then they see me with my quarter sleeve tattoo, and they ask me about it, like, tell me what that is, and I tell them the whole story, and Jesus is represented here, and Jesus, and it's just fascinating to. And plus, I feel like I've picked some timeless art on my arm, and it is very important to me. But I just wanted to help settle, like, can you have tattoos and be timeless? Absolutely. Can you be current and have an style? Absolutely. Be you, be unique, be who you are, but also know that things that last, things that have gravitas, things that are simple are typically going to be the things of the more aesthetically astute or wealthy mindset.
Yeah, I think it's worth paying attention to, because at the end of the day, style is not individual.
No.
People think it's individual. It's not. Style is a social currency.
Mm-hmm.
You like the things that the people that you identify with also like. Not to say that we're not free choice, that somehow our freedom of choice has been taken away, but it's amazing how the demographic that you identify with typically determines a lot of your culture, food.
And I do
Places that
mean
you
to
like to
highlight
go.
our young adult pastor, Hannah, and that whole team. They all have tattoos, and I go get my tattoo with them. So. Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning into the Jeff Heilman Project this week. We can't wait to see you again, and we're looking forward to what are your opinions on style and how timeless. Are you a collector? Do you purchase things? Because we'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Go onto our website for more information, and we will be looking forward to seeing you again next time on the Jeff Heilman Project. Who knows what we'll be talking about then? Bye.